Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. And today I want to say 新年快乐, which basically means Happy New Year in Mandarin. Today, January the 28th, it's the Chinese New Year. And it's the year of the Fire Rooster, which actually occurs every 60 years, but the animal signs change every 12 years. So 1957 and in 1897 were the last two periods where we had the Fire Rooster, and 2017 is the year of the Rooster. And so what does that mean? It's the lunar calendar showing up from the Chinese perspective in terms of astrology, and it always ushers in some type of change as we experience within Western astrology. So there are some characteristics that you'll be familiar with that equate with the sign, so I'll just mention some of them. Being meticulous, thorough, critical, planned, organised. Which sign does that remind you of? Let me think. Sounds a bit like a Virgoan? Absolutely right. So the qualities of the rooster are very similar to those of Virgo. And underlying both of them is about how you're able to be in service. And the Fire Rooster is about being very authoritative, pulling on your own sense of knowledge and wisdom and using that in a very practical and functional way. Now, there are lots of people obviously in the public eye and famous past figures who are fire roosters or roosters per se. So we can go as far back as Confucius, for example, or Henry Ford. Then we have Bob Marley, Elton John, Helen Mirren, Kate Blanchett, Jennifer Aniston, Beyonce, and Serena Williams. And today, Serena beat her sister Venus in the Australian Open. So here we have a rooster doing her thing. Now, when we're looking at this energy of being very practical and being very functional, which means that there's a sense of being very structured in your life and actually just relying on your own sensibilities to arrive at your own conclusions. And so there's a sense of being quite boundaried and quite structured. But you need to be mindful that you don't become inflexible, because with all relationships there's a requirement on some level that you need to compromise. Not compromise to the point that you don't recognise yourself, but it's about how you're able to be flexible in your everyday dealings. So in terms of compatibility, the rooster is very compatible with the snake and the ox, and the reason being is that these three animals and the characteristics are that they're very grounded, they're very practical, and they're very authoritative, and they like to use their head as opposed to their heart, and they like to be quite independent. In terms of incompatibility, if you're a rabbit, for example, you've got this polarized kind of application going on between the rooster and the rabbit. And so you have the rooster, which is metal, and then you have the rabbit, which is wood. And the reason, one explanation for the reason, is that metal destroys wood. And also there's this sense that they're unable to read each other, and so if you're unable to understand or acknowledge somebody else's point of view, that then brings about friction within relationships. So the rooster and the rabbit definitely don't really go together, and all the other animal characteristics and animal signs, so there are varying levels of compatibility. Now, with this Fire Rooster, it's a yin fire energy. And so where you've got a yin fire energy, yin meaning that there's lots of femininity and the feminine qualities that we can all exude in our everyday realities and our everyday interactions. But when you've got this yin fire energy, there's a potential for volatility or destructiveness or arguments in some way. And so what we might see played out in 2017 could be more terror attacks or economic corruption or wars in some way, shape or form, but it's for each and every one of us to show up in terms of how we use our feminine energies to assuage or eliminate or to prevent conflicts in some way, shape or form. And so one of the themes and signatures and ways of being is that we might see women being far more empowered and using or operating in a very empowered way. Now, femininity obviously isn't just for women, because we both have yin and yang energies within us. And so for men, it's about how you're able to tap into your yin energy. And so given that today is the Chinese New Year, yesterday, ironically, we had Theresa May, who met with Donald Trump, and so she was the first international foreign leader to go and meet Donald Trump, and so that could be celebrated on a number of levels. Here she is showing that women are empowered and using their power in a very powerful, positive way. However, I doubt very much that the topic of their conversation would have been around the executive order that Trump signed on Monday. And essentially, he signed this order which now prevents international NGOs who are funded by the US government. They are now no longer able to give any advice or information to women around abortion. So here we have this very hot, contentious topic in terms of an executive order being used in terms of preventing women, in terms of how we're able to exercise rights over our body. And so when I'm talking about this female empowerment, what we might see is an explosion or a rise of women coming out to resist that, as we started to see last week, the day after the inauguration, in terms of the women's rights movements, which has kicked off because of who Trump is and what he represents. So 2017 can be a year whereby we're seeing the rise of feminine power used in a very constructive and positive way. And so when we're dealing also with this Fire Rooster energy, it can be equated with the North Node that moves into Leo from May 2017 and will be there for the next 18 months. And so both represent how are you able to be the shining star in your light. So the Fire Rooster is about the shooting star, how you're the shooting star in your universe. We've got the North Node moving into Leo, and there again, how do you define yourself in your unique way so that you're able to shine, but yet you are grounded because you've got this Rooster Virgo energy that underpins what it is that you do. So, powerful times ahead. So it's going to be very potent, very powerful, very much being in service. You know, what services could you be sharing with the world? What aspects could you be sharing? Don't forget, if we're looking at this from a Virgoan point of view, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and so that's about the power of communication. How are you able to use your communication skills that then act in service of other people? The Rooster is about taking a prominent stance or taking up a prominent position in life, and so therefore, you know, could you show your kind of performer skills? Who are you in terms of moving out into the world? Could you be using your communication skills in terms of a career change, moving into PR? How do you package up who you are or somebody else's message in a way that's going to have a meaningful impact that transforms the world of work, your careers, or around health? So that's it. I want to wish you Xin Nian Kuai La, Happy New Year. Xie xie, sai jian, which basically means thank you and goodbye in Mandarin. So I hope I haven't really butchered up the pronunciations. My Mandarin's really rusty. I'm coming back to it after many, many years. So if any of you are Mandarin speakers and I've made any errors, put them in the comment box below. You know, I always love to connect with you. Have a fantastic 2017. Very powerful. Tune in to your instincts. Listen to them, feel them, be led by them, and then execute from that position of power. Until then, have a fantastic celebration, and I'll see you again on the next episode. Bye.